Today's notes cover solving quadratic functions by graphing. Let's start by reviewing. Solutions, roots, zeros, x-intercepts are the same. We are looking for the same x values. No matter how the question is asked, if it asks you for the solutions to a quadratic equation, the roots of a quadratic function, the zeros of a quadratic function, or the x-intercepts, we are looking for the same x values. Your answers would be the same. Therefore, if you can identify the root of a quadratic function, then you can find the solution. So example 1. It asks us to solve the quadratic equation x squared minus 8x equals negative 15. The first step is to make sure your equation is equal to 0. So we would have to add 15 to both sides for my equation to equal 0. This is a very important point. When you are solving a quadratic, you need to make sure the quadratic equation equals 0. Step 2. Graph the function y equals x squared minus 8x plus 15 in your graphing calculator. In other words, type x squared minus 8x plus 15 into y1 in your calculator. I'll give you a moment to do that. Now let's look on your graph. Once you type your equation into y equals, hit the graph button so you can see the graph of the quadratic function. You can see that it crosses the x-axis when x equals 3 and when x equals 5. The solutions to the equation are the roots of the graph. So the solutions are the x values that make your function value 0. We are looking for the x values that make your function value 0. Notice both of those ordered pairs. 3, 0. When x is 3, your corresponding y value or function value is 0. That's why it's a root of your graph and a solution to the equation. Again, look at the point 5, 0. Your domain or x value is 5, and your y value or function value is 0. The x values that make your function value 0 are 3 and 5. Therefore, those are the solutions to this quadratic equation. It's important to realize that this 3, 5 is not the point 3, 5. You are given the solutions in set builder notation. Again, the braces do not have the same meaning as the parentheses you use to represent an ordered pair. The solutions to this quadratic equation are 3 and 5, not the point 3, 5. The point 3, 5 has absolutely no meaning in this situation. So in order to solve a quadratic equation by graphing, step 1 is write the related function. That would go in box 1 down there. Write the related function. So in our example, y equals x squared minus 8x plus 15 was our related function. Step 2. Graph your related function. Of course, you don't have to do this by hand. You can do this in your graphing calculator. We did this in our calculator. We graphed x squared minus 8x plus 15 in our graphing calculator and then looked at the graph of the function. And the last step is find your zeros. Of course, you know at this point that zeros are the roots of the graph or the x-intercepts. And those are your solutions to the quadratic equation.